Good morning. It is Sunday morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm still waking up, but I'm still going to do a video because I have plans today to spend some time outside. It's going to be sunny for once. So my little leprechaun says hi. And I have a leprechaun mug. Little gnome. You can tell I like gnomes. I recently learned that the gnomes were actually a slave race in Atlantis. And this is why they don't like humans. So, grow. He sits in my little my paranormal state mug, signed by all the kids in paranormal state back in 2011. That was the beginning of my journey. No, not 2011, 2009. That was the beginning of my journey. I realized I had psychic abilities, and I started testing myself. Anyway, so, yep. Paranormal State. I did quite a few things with them, actually. Ryan Buell and all them. But and that was really, it was a really interesting experience for me, because it helped me to test myself, because I always thought there was something different about me, and I didn't realize how psychic I really was. And yeah. So I thought until I started going on ghost hunts and all that fun stuff. Then I joined a paranormal team out here in Milwaukee, and I did that for a little bit, and did ghost hunting, and we would go to people's homes or place of business. We would set up our stuff, and then my job was to review all the footage that we had, and just like from webcams and stuff. That was so tedious. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. After about 2 years, I would say I was involved in the paranormal community for probably 4 years, and then I decided, you know what, this is getting too dark for me. I know that I'm psychic. I know I'm a medium. I don't need to keep. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed helping people. Our group in Milwaukee, we would help the families like clear out their home and stuff, but it's not how I would do it now. Let me just say that. We just put some sage and holy water and say some prayers and call in them angels. But now my technique is a lot different than I used to do back then. Now it requires a lot more skill set to clear out places. Yeah. So I just kind of want to come on here and just chat a little bit. It's going to get crazy. The world is going to get crazy, and we need to be ready for it. We need to stay grounded. I've been telling people to prepare for financial collapse. I've been telling people to prepare for chaos, huge shifting, because this needs to happen in order for people to awake and realize. The funny thing is that I have to be careful of my words here. The funny thing is, not really funny, is that the 1%, they're doing everything they can to stop this mass awakening, right? And it's actually working for our benefit against theirs. And they are grasping at every straw, and they're going to keep pushing it. The more they push us to get into a higher timeline. So these things don't happen. Some things will happen because it will help wake up more people. We've actually been delayed as far as this whole Rapture solar event. We've actually been pushed further back because they meaning the higher ups and source God, they want to give the chance to as much as humanity as possible to wake up, to be able to choose their path, and realize that we are sovereign beings who can create our own reality. And even upon death, that we can choose where we want to go after death. Because a lot of people have been trapped in this karmic cycle, thinking that they need to come back here to work out karma, to do it different this time, to do it better this time. And they just keep getting in this loop of, instead of when they die, they don't realize that they can actually choose to go beyond that. It has to do with forgiveness of self. Okay? It has to do with how you feel about yourself. Let's say, you've done some bad things during life and you have a lot of regrets, okay? And death comes to you and you're at the veil, you're passing the veil. Then you have the archons, and these light beings coming to you and saying, they give you a review of your life, saying, okay, let's look at everything you did or didn't do. Where would you like to go next? And if you are in a place of judgment, oh, God is never going to forgive me. Jesus would never forgive me for doing that. That is actually putting you back into a lower vibrational state where you think I have to go back because I need to fix it, right? I need to do this over. And here's the thing. These negative archons, there's positive and negative, they will show you they will want to show you everything bad that you ever did and be like, look what you did. You need to, how do you feel about that? And you need to be in a place of knowing who you truly are, a place of sovereignty, a place of love of oneself, love of God, and knowing that you are a child of God, you are a part of God. We are all one, we're all connected. And no one is better than another. People do stupid, evil things because they're asleep. They're asleep and they don't realize the trauma that they have been through in their life has caused them to behave the way that they do, right? So think about everybody in your life that is messed up, that is toxic, or people that you used to know, that hurt people, and they continue to do it over and over again. They don't heal themselves. They just continue to drown themselves in addiction. When this happens, they're trying to find a way to move past this feeling of I'm not good enough. They want to numb themselves. We've all done it. We have all numbed ourselves in one way or another. That's because we don't want to face our shadow self. We don't want to face our truth. We don't want to face, okay, I've done this and this and this, but I don't. If you are at a place where you are constantly shaming yourself and constantly in a place where you're thinking you're never going to be good enough, you will continue on this karmic cycle, either living or when you pass on and you go to the next life. It's a karmic cycle. The goal of ascension is to move past this karmic cycle and move to a place where you are free from karma. Anyway, that is what is happening to humanity. Humanity is waking up from the reality that we are trapped in a prison. We are trapped in a prison, but you can free yourself. Just like in the movie Matrix, it's up to you to free yourself. Neo had to choose to free himself. He had to do it. Nobody else could do it for him. Nobody else can do that for you. You have to choose to free yourself. And giving that choice to a different deity is weak. In my opinion, it's weak. It's an excuse. And that is what the Catholic Church wants you to do. They want you to be weak. They want you to be full of fear, of judgment, that you're going to go to the fake hell. There is a hell, but it's almost like a virtual reality hell. Okay? Like, I can go into, I'm not going to go into that, but that could be another topic. Okay? That'll be another topic. Yeah. So that was the whole purpose of the Catholic Church rewriting the New Testament. There was an original. They rewrote it to fit their agenda. There are many gospels that were removed. And the gospels that are there were rewritten. Right? I hit the nail on the head. All right. So I want to go talk about a little bit about what's happening in the world right now and what's going to happen. I've been saying it for a long time. Two things I want to talk about. UFOs, ETs, and financial collapse. I want to talk about those things. I think if you go back, I've been telling people, like, the extraterrestrials are here. They're going to start showing themselves. I've been telling you guys that for 2 or 3 years. And I've had my own experiences. I had a gray on my deck 2 years ago. And it was on my deck and about to come in. I had my screen door open, and it was about to come into my patio door. I was in bed because it's right off in my bedroom. I was in bed and I roll over and I hear this my screen door like shake, and I'm like, what the heck? I sit up. I see a shadow because the moon was bright. Plus, I have a street lamp at the end of my driveway. So there was an ET. I could see his shadow. Like, he's trying to creep away from, like around the house or whatever. Like, I could see his shadow moving across the floor of the deck. And I'm like, okay. Not the first time I've had encounters with grays. But I stood up and I was trying to feel it out, whether it was positive or negative. And to me, it felt neutral. But he was kind of tall for a gray. So I don't know if it was because he was like on the part of the roof, because I'm on the second floor. I'm on the second floor and there's somebody on my deck. The only way someone can do that without a ladder would be an ET with a UFO, right? Anyway, I see its shadow moving, and I could see its head. Its head shape was like this, like really skinny neck. Okay, skinny neck, and its head shape was like this. It could have been a mantis gray, because of the shape of its head. I look out. I'm standing there, and I look out, and I'm like, I saw a part of its body move around the other side of the house, and I'm like, wow, okay. I shut my patio door and I locked it, and I went to the bathroom because I had to go. And I'm like sitting there like, okay, I hope it's gone. I got my sage out, sage my house, and I'm like, then I did my incantations of like, you have no right to come into this place against my will. You do not belong here. You have no right to touch me or take me or harm me. Now listen, the whole thing with the ET disclosure, there's many angles going on here with the whole extraterrestrial thing. Some people are going to react in fear because they think they're demons. Some of them are kind of evil and nefarious. Some of them are very good and loving and only want the best for us. They are rooting for humanity. There are those that are not interfering, they're just watching. There are those that are trying to push a little bit more, trying to help us in the best way they can without interfering on our contracts. We have contracts before incarnating here on Earth. We have contracts, missions that we agreed to do, certain timelines that we, that's why when you have a deja vu moment, it is because you're remembering from reviewing this life before you came here. It is a turning point. It's, I remember this timeline. This is the one I'm supposed to be on, because it's like almost like a signal beacon going off in your conscious brain, subconscious, and it's reminding you like, yeah, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to be doing, because this is a timeline that you chose, or you reviewed this timeline before you came here, right? So oftentimes that's what happens when we have deja vu. We think, I've been here before. Maybe your future self in a higher timeline was also there. If you're trying to connect to a higher timeline, you will also have that, because you have higher timelines, you have lower timelines. This might get confusing for some people. Some of us most of us on this ascension path are trying to connect to our highest timelines, right? So we're trying to connect to our highest, whatever highest path that we want for ourselves, which is free of tyranny, free of control, peace, abundance, love, and beautiful relationships, everything that we ever desired. But this is not from a selfish standpoint. Living a life of serving others, being Christ-like, being, living in a utopia society. That is our highest timeline. And it's not necessarily, I want beautiful things to happen to me. That is okay to want that. It's not selfish. You are a divine being who deserves to have everything that you dreamed of. When you are in the heart space and you love others and you are wanting the best for yourself and for those that you love, there's nothing selfish about that. Society has ingrained in us that to have abundance is selfish. It is not selfish it's selfish if you're keeping it all to yourself and you're not sharing your abundance or your gifts or your talents with others, then that's living a life of service to self. But when we use our abundance to help others, to be able to use our gifts and our talents with some of that money to help one another, to build one another up, to teach one another, to lead one another, then that's living an abundant life. There's nothing selfish about that. Some people are in survival mode. I've had a time in my life where I was in survival mode. It was when I was doing my shadow work. And I had awakened in 2009, but I went through a slow awakening in a sense, because I had nobody to help me. I didn't have, well, I take that back. I had this one gentleman. I found a website actually. This one, it was like a social network website that this guy built. He lived in New Zealand, and he built it for, for mystics, for people like us, people like me. But, at that time, I was only curious because there was a lot of paranormal stuff and his, so then they had a chat room in that website. And so this guy, his name was Vlada, and he was in New Zealand, and he did help me with a lot of stuff. He encouraged me to meditate. So I started meditating, and then I said, I want to review, my past lives. I want to know where I started. He's like, okay, then just meditate and ask your guides to show you, So I did. I went back. I did a past life regression on myself. And there were back then in 2009 to actually 2010, 2011, there were no YouTube videos to guide you into any kind of past life regression. I just winged it. I just did it because, I don't know, it's like I already knew how to do it. But, and so I went on this deep meditation. It probably took about 45 minutes of going back to the beginning of my soul creation, and going into Lyra, going from Lyra to the Pleiades, from the Pleiades to Orion, to Maldek, I didn't know what these places were. I then, after all of this, Maldek to Mars, we just made a pit stop at Mars. We didn't stay there. I was on a ship. Okay. Most of this time I was on a big ship, like Galactic Federation ship, I later find out. So I'm a Palladian most of the time, but I was Lyran and then Palladian. So I've been a Palladian for quite some time, but I've also been Arcturian and Syrian. So, but I was reviewing mostly my Palladian life, like journey, I should say. And I'm on this big ship, like big mothership, and we're going from Pleiades to Orion, and we actually spent some time on Maldek, which has multiple different names. And then we went to Mars. We made a pit stop at Mars. I don't know why we went there. All I'm seeing is that we're like fueling up, we're getting supplies, we're like in and out of there, and then we're like, we're not staying here. And then we're on the outside we're stationed outside of Earth, and then I have my first incarnation, and I'm in Lemuria. Okay, I die. I'm not that old. I'm probably like 30 something when I am shot with arrows by Atlanteans. I die. I come back to my Palladian self. Then, as my Palladian, I'm on a covert operation as a Palladian. There's a team of us that come into Atlantis undercover. And this is when Atlantis started getting bad. And some of us were there under disguise of, we're just here to, live here for a bit and check it out. But actually, we were collecting data. We were collecting information about things that were going on. And we were sending that information back to the Palladium mothership or the Galactic Federation. So that's what we were doing in Atlantis. And I ended up drowning in Atlantis when Atlantis destructed. So now, when I had no idea what I was seeing. All these things. This is one meditation, by the way. One meditation, I was getting all this information. Oh yeah, there's the reptilians too. I was getting all that too. The whole reptilians, how they were trying to just do come into the solar system and hijack the whole hijack Earth. They were trying to hijack not just Earth, but all the planets in the solar system. And this is, so I realized, I talked to my friend Vlada in New Zealand about everything I just saw. I didn't understand I didn't understand all of it. I'm like, this is what I saw. This is where I was going. This is what I was doing. He's like, oh my gosh. Then he helped me. He explained to me exactly where he's like, I think you were on Maldig. I'm like, yeah, Maldig was destroyed. We got off the planet just in time. And I was there for like, not very long, because it almost feels like we were there for training. It was like we were at a training school. It was really almost like military school. Like, we were wearing white suits and uniforms, skin tight, almost, kind of. It looked very Star Wars-y. The buildings that were there looked very much kind of like you see in the Star Wars Tatooine. Maldik looked a lot like Tatooine, but it also had fauna and flora too in certain places. But yeah, the area that I was at was very, very like rocky, concrete kind of buildings, and it reminded me of Tatooine in some ways. But we were like, I was a fighter pilot. I was a pilot, and we were like, we have to get to the ships. We have to get to, and I get me and my partner, we get into it almost looks like a fighter ship, and we take off, and then the planet explodes. We were literally coming from school. It felt like we were walking home from school. We're with a bunch of friends or training or whatever, and all of a sudden sirens start going off. And we're like, okay, we gotta get off this planet. And we're like, this is not a drill. We have to get off this planet. So we get to our fighter jets, ships, whatever, and we fly off the planet, and it explodes. And that is what is now Maldik is now the asteroid belt. All right. So this guy Vlada in New Zealand, he helped me review everything. And he told me what was what, and then this is back in 2010. Okay, nobody was talking about this stuff, or 2011, I don't remember, but nobody was talking about this stuff anywhere. And I thought, I was like, okay, am I going crazy? But then little by little over the years, people started remembering the same kind of memories that I had, but just different experiences. They remembered the Draconians attacking Lyra and destroying the planet. They remember going to the Pleiades, or they went to Orion. Either we went to my soul family when we went to the Pleiades first before we went to Orion. So anyway, I'm just kind of telling you guys a little bit about my journey and my experiences. So the ETs, they have been around our planet for thousands of years. People are like, why can't we see them? Because they're in a higher vibration. Most of them. They can drop vibration. They can drop their vibration and make themselves visible to us. The reptilians and the grays are fourth dimensional. There are many types of grays. There's not just one type of gray, by the way. And some of them are good. The Ebens are kind of neutral. They're not good and they're not technically bad. They're kind of neutral. There's several types of grays, several types of reptilians. The draconians are like the ones that most people see as demons because they look kind of demonic. Those are the draconians. Then there's the reptilians. The reptilians are a little lower than the draconians. Okay. Then there's the tall whites, and they look kind of like grays, but they're tall, they're thin, and they have like almost like cone-shaped heads, I think. Yeah. I've had experiences with them in astral. So anyway, coming back, circling back, the ETs that are appearing, remember, if you go back to my videos, either in this channel or my old channel, you have to find my old channel. You have to go to my list of subscribers that I have. You have to find the people I'm subscribed to. Find my old channel, and there's a couple of videos in there from 2021 that I talk about the extraterrestrials coming back. They're not coming back, but they're going to start revealing themselves, and they have. And they've really amped up because you know why? Like I said in those videos, I said the government, they want the government to tell us the truth, and they're not. So they're like, all right, we're just going to start showing the people. And they have incredibly in the last 2 years. And it's really amping up now because they're saying enough of this. We're running out of time because we need to move this along. You know, it's time that people know. It's time that people wake up. And but the thing is, like, people are either going to wake up in fear or they're going to wake up, most people are going to wake up in fear because especially those that are asleep and don't know anything about this. And many of us are extraterrestrials. They are them. We are them. They are us, whatever. And some of us are here incarnated right now it's almost like we're the Trojan horse coming in to free humanity. However, the reptilians are also incarnated because there are reptilians that have been here underground for thousands of years. Those have been pushed out for the last, I don't know, quite a while since Christ came here. That's the information I'm getting. The reptilians have not been allowed to return. They've been able to pass by our place. They're trying to extract their family that's here, okay? The ones that were here have been dealt with or told to leave. However, they have a Trojan horse as well. There are reptilians that are incarnated right now. And many of them are in positions of power. And this is the battle that we're up against. Not just, I also think there's some negative grays are incarnated as well. Lower dimensional. I think some of these, they call these NPCs, non-character players. They seem soulless, right? they may have a soul, but they're on a program. And that's very much how like the Greys act. The Greys behave like they're some kind of AI, or it's not that they're not AI. They are a bio, genetic being, but but they have issues with empathy because they have been brought down to such low vibration and a disconnection from source that they're just running on a program, almost like, yes, they have psychic abilities. Yes, they're able to telepathically communicate with you, and get into your psyche. But as far as empathy, that is very, very low or completely removed. So now we have some of them incarnating into humans. And this is where I think people are getting the whole NPCs. Some people think that it's demons. I don't necessarily believe that, though it could be possible. Demons are a whole nother thing. They're not really very intelligent, though. They're almost like on an elemental level, and they're not. I don't like talking about them. I mean, I don't mind talking about them. I don't. I've slayed my own demons. I've dealt with my own demons. But they're just, oh my gosh, they're just these little, think of them as like dogs, like stupid dogs that, no offense to dog owners or any, I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but demons are like dogs compared to like the reptilians or the draconians, okay? That's just the best way I can describe it, okay? To kind of give you on a psychological level of the hierarchy, I should say. So, yeah. So go back in my old videos. I talk about this. I told you. I've been telling people that this is coming. A lot of people that I know didn't take me seriously, and I know this. They thought I was going crazy. They thought I was loop-de-loo. They're like, oh yeah, she's just one of those psychics. I think she's psychic. It's funny. I had a coworker. I don't know what word is getting around town, but one of my taxi riders is like, oh, I heard you're a psychic. I'm like, how did she find that out? I don't know how she found that out. And then one of my coworkers is like, I heard you were psychic. I'm like, who is going around telling everybody? So my coworker on Friday, he's like, okay. He's like, I don't know if I believe in that stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. And he's like, all right, tell me something about myself that you shouldn't know about, or you wouldn't know about. I said, okay. You used to have a brown dog? He said, yep, I used to have a brown dog. He was kind of a nasty dog. I said, yeah, I was getting like a medium-sized dog. And he's like, yep, you're right on that. I said, okay. And he's like, okay, try something else. So I was like, okay, you have a daughter. She's blonde. And he's like, she's blonde now, but yes, I have a daughter. She is blonde. She's blonde now. Obviously, she colors her hair. He's like, okay, give me something else. I said, okay, I'm seeing palm trees and lots of wind, almost like a storm or a hurricane. He's like, oh yeah, I went through a really, really bad hurricane when I was living in Florida. That took me 5 minutes. I didn't even have to sit there and meditate or anything. Like, so people doubt me, like, okay, that's your choice. Whatever. I warn you guys, I tell you guys, and you don't want to listen to me. Okay, so that's your choice. So back in 2016, remember when we had that big eclipse of the sun? That was some wacky energy, right? That eclipse of the sun just did not sit right with me very well. But it awakened my psyche in some ways. I was going through some massive shadow work at the time, by the way, in 2016. But like a few days later after that eclipse, I was getting these images in my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, is this what's going to happen? Like, I was seeing the future of, I didn't know how soon it was going to happen. Now, 2016 is when Trump got elected, remember? And I was like, oh my gosh, are people going to uprise? Or we had a little bit of uprising from the other side. The other side. But it wasn't like what I was seeing in my mind. I'm like, I'm seeing fires, I'm seeing riots, I'm seeing what is going on? Like, when is this going to happen? Well, I drew this painting of the things that I was seeing. Okay. It's a little painting. I didn't have much to paint on at the time. So, yeah. Now, I drew the eye because it's something with seeing, right? I was seeing this with my third eye, right? And I didn't realize this at the time. This probably should have been a different color. But I don't know why I drew the eye like this. I drew it like it looked like a cell, okay? But what does that remind you of? I had no idea why I was drawing. I had no idea why I drew it like that. But that looks like the C disease that we have still. But yep. But I didn't realize this until after the pandemic started, and I went back and found this painting, and I'm like, holy crap. I drew it in here, in the eye. All right, so then I'm seeing cities on fire. Now, I wasn't sure if this was because, and I thought, oh, this is the riots and stuff that happened, right, in 2020. But I'm not sure. Then I was seeing flooding, lots of flooding, and, well, tears, lots of tears, probably from the death of virus. And I was seeing volcanoes erupting. This is a volcano. See right here. Yep. And something with the sky, smoke in the sky, and lots of birds flying. Like, I was seeing birds like kind of like flying erratically. Yeah. So we're seeing this. Now over here, I think right here in the corner, I think that's, some of this is covered because of the frame, but I drew trees on fire as well, not just cities. This could be tsunami. The water could be due to tsunamis with earthquakes or whatever. But guess what city is on fire right now? France. Paris is on fire. I was like, I heard that this morning, and that made me think of that this painting. And so I don't think this, I thought this was all about 2020. I think this is all about several years worth of stuff that's going to be happening or has happened. I show people that and they're like, whoa. Yeah. So with the banks and everything that's going on right now, I really suggest you find a way to invest your money. Excuse me. To invest your money into something tangible. The big corporations are going to go first. They're going to freeze first. Big corporations like Chase, U.S. Bank, what's that other one? Any big nationwide bank is going to freeze first, and then it'll trickle down to state banks, to local banks. So have cash on hand for at least, I don't know, a month's worth. At least a month's worth. They're saying, this freeze could happen. Now we just heard on the news, right, that, we're going to face inflation in about 90 days. They're thinking in the next 90 days. Well, that's the media. It could happen sooner than that. So please be prepared. Have enough cash on hand. You don't have to take everything out, because the insurance of the banks should be able to, return that money back to you eventually, but you don't know how long that's going to be. Okay. I really suggest to invest in silver. Gold is good as well. But silver, most people can get their hands on silver because right now it's affordable. But it will go up. It's already going up since I got mine last year. It's already gone up $5 since I bought it. I plan to buy some more soon. I just got a raise at work, and we are going to have the raise is now going to be effective back to January 1st, and I think it's going to go in the next paycheck. Praying, because I'm like, please have it before the next paycheck, before my bank freezes and I can't get to it. So I'm like, so I'm like, that money, I think that back pay money, I'm gonna invest in some more silver. I'm not gonna say how much I have, but yeah. I really suggest you do that because, the place where I got mine, moneymetals.com. You can also, let's say, I'm going to tell you guys. Let's say, I need some cash. I'm really stuck and I need to get some cash. You mail this back to them and they will give you the cash that this is worth at the present moment. They have their own banking system through gold and silver. So they will send you that money back that this is worth at the given moment that you traded in. All right? By the way, I also have something pretty cool. I have an original $20 bill. An original, and it is I believe it's a 1998 though. No, 1993. $1993 original $20 bill, and it's isn't decent condition, right? So yeah, I highly suggest you do that. Because we don't know how long the banks are going to be frozen, but eventually this is something valuable that I can put my hands on it. Okay, I still have not invested in crypto. People are saying, invest in crypto. It doesn't sit well within my spirit to do that. I'm listening to my spirit. I don't know about it. I don't know about that. Maybe it's because I'm an indigo and I'm still old school and I'm still kind of not sure about the crypto thing. Maybe I'll just put in $20 and just see what happens and where it goes. But I don't know, because you don't want to put a lot of risk. Do not. If you are wary about crypto, don't put like $500 in there. No, put like 20, 40, and then see where it goes. You never know. It's not, you can try it. I'm thinking about doing that. Maybe I'll just put in 20 and then see what happens. If it starts to grow. But the thing is that at any given time we could lose all that, because it's not something I can hold in my hand. It's something that they can take away and delete. I don't trust it. So everybody can do their own thing. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm telling you what my spirit is telling me to do. You need to listen to your own higher self and your own soul about what to do about this, because you should never, well, here I am telling you to invest in gold and silver, but that is an advice, but you don't have to take it. If your soul is telling you, maybe I should do this, then do it. You don't have to. When I first did it, I didn't put in a whole lot, but then I felt better about it. As the year went on, I thought, okay, I'm gonna get some more, because I feel like in my soul, I listen to my intuition. My intuition is telling me. My intuition is almost always right, so I trust my intuition. And yeah, it hasn't failed me. So I hope you all will stay grounded and not be in fear of what's happening. We all knew this was coming. We all, deep down, we all knew it was coming, because we signed up for this. We wanted to be here for this. As rough it is, and as crazy and insane as it is, we wanted to be here for this because we've done it before. Some of us have ascended on other planets and have done this before, but not in such a low density environment. We've never done this ascension in a 3D matrix. And this is why there's so many of us here. So yeah, there's a lot more that my brain is like wanting to, like, oh, don't forget, talk about this. And I'm like thinking, no, maybe another video. So yeah. Oh yeah, I know. One more thing. The other day I posted on Facebook that I wanted to talk about AI, virtual reality, and all that. And I didn't get to it because I've just been busy with my readings and then my other work, a taxi job. And my readings on Etsy are just exploding. Like I'm getting, it's now taking me 2 weeks to get to someone to do a reading, which is good, but I'm trying not to let it make me feel like I don't have any time for myself. Like today, I could be doing readings. I'm sure it would make some people really happy if I did their reading today. But I need a day, and I need a day for myself. So today is my day for myself, and I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go outside in nature. It's gonna be sunny today, not really warm, but comfortable enough for a jacket and walk and spend some time outside. So that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, so this virtual reality, back in 2014, I found the virtual reality chat, whatever you want to call it, of Second Life. And Second Life is it's kind of like a video game, but you have free range. It's like The Sims, but you have free range, and you create your own avatar. It's expensive to create. Now it's expensive to create a really beautiful looking avatar. People are putting lots of money into that. And I'll admit, I don't even want to look at how much money I put into that thing, because it gives me anxiety because I'm thinking, it's virtual reality. Why am I doing this? I have moments where I've had moments where like I don't do it for like 6 months, and then I come back to it, and then it's like, it is kind of like an addiction. And I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I'm perfect. I'm not. And what I loved about it though is it was a place where I could create. It was a place where I could build a life that I dream about. It is a great manifestation tool. I use it as a manifestation tool. I created houses that I would love to build and live in. I created environments that were like fantasy-like. I created environments that were tranquil and a place of peace. And I mean, the graphics on Second Life have really amped up. Like, it's gotten really, really cool. And some people in there I know use a virtual reality headset. But I told myself, I'm never going to do that. Right? I like my flat screen. I'm not going to go some virtual reality, right? Well, guess what? We're living in a virtual reality. We literally are living in a virtual reality. The whole universe is a virtual reality, if you think about it. And it's all and our bodies are like these energetic, like fully conscious beings that we can transform and incarnate into an avatar on different planets. Like, this whole universe is a virtual reality. Like, you can shame, like AI virtual reality and like put a negative connotation on it. Yes, it can be negative when used for the wrong reason. And let me tell you, I have met some really nasty folks on Second Life. Like, it's getting more and more infiltrated with negative people, negative entities, whatever. And I decided it's time for me to exit, because there's too much crap going on in there. Yeah, there's beautiful things with the graphics and everything going on now, and you can create a beautiful avatar, but at the same time, it's moving people away from what's really important, and that's this reality. This reality is more important than that reality right now, because we need this reality to flip so that we can have a reality, we can create a beautiful, abundant, peaceful world. That so many go on Second Life too, because they want to break from this reality, right? The whole purpose of going on. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I need a break. So I go from this reality. So I go on Second Life on my laptop. I go on Second Life and I can be in a peaceful, tranquil place. But you know what? It's not doing anything. You're not doing anything in that reality. Here in this reality, I am doing something just by anchoring my light and clearing out negative entities, loving people. I am doing work in this reality. In that reality, I'm not doing anything other than, I can create. It's a creative outlet, and I have formed some really great friendships on that platform. But and I've tried to bring my light into Second Life, but it just doesn't seem to be working. Even with relationships, I try and connect to and bring my light and shine some truth about what's really going on. Like some people in Second Life are starting to wake up, but spiritually. And there is a community that is waking up. And there is some people with good intentions in there. Okay. But there's a lot of negativity. And they're using Second Life as a way for people to escape from what's really important. And that's this reality. And it's taken me a while to have that really click.